Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm a psychic and a medium. My name is Susan Lynn. Today I'm going to be channeling some spirit guides. I know you can't see them, but I do channel them. If you've been a viewer of my channel for a while, you'll know that they have a pretty good track record of being correct. If you're new to this channel, well, there's probably over 200 videos over the last 3 years where I've been predicting politics. And again, the spirit guides have been pretty correct. Now, we do need to say that humans have free will and humans are unpredictable, right? We know this. We ourselves are sometimes unpredictable. So, what I'm doing is reading the overall energy and the most likely outcome that that human or that situation might uh, do. Okay. So I am channeling this 60% spirit guides, 40% me, which means sometimes the download that I'm getting breaks up like that because they wanted to use a different word and I couldn't figure out the word they wanted to use. So I just said do. And I still don't know what word it is they were trying to say, but it sounded like participation, but that doesn't fit the sentence. That is activation. This is what they do. Like they give me words that have energy like activation, participation, but that's not proper English. So sometimes the translation breaks down. Welcome to my world, right? Let's get started. You guys have been so kind as to send in your questions, 257 of them. I don't think I'm going to get to everybody today. I will say that generally speaking, I have the same spirit guides show up for this. But today I have, it feels like a different vibrational energy showing up that seems to be a little bit more. I would like to describe it like 30,000 feet. If you've ever been in an airplane and you look down at your city, well, it looks very different than it does when you're driving through downtown or driving to the grocery store. So this viewpoint, many times throughout this channeling, answering your questions could be more of an extended viewpoint, more of an elevated viewpoint, more of a 30,000 feet in the air viewpoint. Okay. And with that, I'm going to say several of your questions are about will this person get justice or that person get justice? And what one of the things I think this entity, this vibrational energy is here to communicate to humans on planet Earth right now is that justice comes in all forms. Justice comes in not only the way you think, because they want to say, obviously, that our justice system is under attack right now, that it's not working correctly. It's like if your car isn't working correctly, you might not be able to drive over 50 miles an hour because your tires shake. Or your body's not working correctly, you have the flu, you need to take some time off from work. It's not going to be in its optimal shape to go to work or to go out to that party. In this same way, our justice system is not optimal. It is under attack. It is not sick. They're saying it is under attack. And there is a sickness in it, but it's wanton. I think what they're trying to say is it's chosen. It's chosen. These people that have decided to not be on the side of justice have chosen that. That's a choice that they've made. So I want to just make sure that you understand that even if one of these people we're going to be talking about today seemingly gets away with something, have you not noticed that there's another something kind of karmic that comes for them? Maybe they get out of that particular court case, but then they get hit with some sort of financial problem, or they get out of the court case and another court case appears. So in that way, the spirit guides talked a long time ago about 100 arrows being shot at this target, at this person, and 95 missing, but 5 gained purchase. So their point was not necessarily to name the 5 arrows, but to assure you in the end, justice will prevail. They're saying that mm, it's a messy development. Democracy is a messy development, and it started messily, and it's continuing to be messy because humans always get to vote and to weigh in and say we want this or we don't want that. But what's most important is humans have to weigh in. If we don't weigh in, then we get what we get, right? So let's get started. And I just want to say this is a higher octave, they want to say, of energy that I just channeled. But I also want to say that my other spirit guides are here not to get too high and mighty on our vibrational mountain, because one of the things they were describing the same theory, the same idea to me that I just described to you. One of the other of my spirit guides, who probably should be in detention, but anyway, said, "Well, you know how, Susan, if you gain 20 pounds, you can't just lose 20 pounds in a week. You know, it's going to take, if it took you a year to gain 20 pounds, it might take you a year or 2 years to lose 20 pounds." And their point was, we didn't get here overnight. This happened sort of incrementally, and we're not just going to fix it with sending one guy to prison. That's not going to fix it. Now, the reason I think this guy should be in detention is because I think he was talking about me, and I have not gained 20 pounds. As a matter of fact, I've lost 10 pounds. So I don't know who he's talking about. And if he's talking about one of you, then I'm going to protect you too. Okay, so I think it was just an example. Okay, they're like, don't get riled up. It was just an example. So you can see how the different vibrational octaves, the different vibrational levels can influence me. And my vibrational level as a human is 5-star spicy, especially this week. Okay, take this is a week of take no prisoners, y'all. So you guys really don't know who I am. You know who I am when I'm channeling. That's the best possible version of me. Let me just tell you. Get me on behind the wheel of the car. It's not pretty. Okay, let's move on to your questions. Okay. Rosemary says, what will it take for the GOP to realize that their front runner is out of his mind unless it's one collective mind of mush? And Paul also says this in a different question. He says, why are so many souls attracted to Trump? Even one supporter is too many. Well, there's a few things going on here. It's not would it see when I start to tell you what they're telling me, then they correct me because the translation's wrong. That's when I'm like, anyway, I told you guys spicy. So anyway, I was going to say it's not that easy, but it is that easy. It's not that complicated. Okay, first and foremost, the spirit guides have said this from day one. This is about racism. This is about otherness. Even Robinson, the guy running for North Carolina governor, said that he would like to own slaves. Apparently, racism knows no race, right? It's about power. It's really about power. And it's about this idea of, I will have the power. I have the power. Base of this, it's really about white men. We know this. They want the power. They want women secondary, white women secondary, and everybody else falls wherever they fall. But I think that's really what this is about. As the spirit guides are saying, as we go into 2025, 26, and so let's say even 2035, it's pretty clear to anybody that cares to look into it that the races are mixing, and or the white race is becoming less populous and other races are becoming more populous. They call it the great replacement. They're not shy about talking about it. They are worried about being replaced, and they know they haven't been a good steward of power, and they're worried about what's going to happen when these other people that are different races get power over them. So this is really, in their mind, a fight to stay in power, but also they're afraid. They're deeply afraid that perhaps Black people are going to treat them the way they've treated Black people. They know what they've done. So that's a big, you can't underestimate that as a power, as a activation force. Okay. And I really think that is the activation force. I mean, you could really dumb it down to that. And I'm not even going to go any further because I really think at the root of everything, it's about power, it's about race. Even if you're not white, it's still about power. Um, you know, so I think that's it. That sums it up. And as we go into 25, the energy shifts to power of the people instead of what this energy we've been in is this sort of hierarchical power, this top down power. That top down, those top down industries, but paradigms are going to dissolve. And that all of that power that's contained in that paradigm, in that industry, is going to flood out to the people. Okay, so I'm not talking about communism. I'm talking about a redistribution, is what the spirit guides want to say. Now, there's two things that you should know. One is artificial intelligence is going to make it so the average person can do the work of 10 people. So that also destabilizes the workforce. But I would tell you that if you can think about things in a broader sense, there's room for everyone to make a lot of money next year and the next 10 years, because as these silos of power dissolve, everybody's going to have an opportunity to take a chunk of that business or that money for themselves. But you have to step into it. Otherwise, you're going to have sort of mini silos where people that are really smart and activated, and that's not even smart, it's more like they just believe in themselves. They have the ego to be able to say, hey, I can do this. They're going to start businesses that use this AI, and then they're going to hire other people. But the sum total is that, yes, this is going to disrupt our workforce. That's why the spirit guides have said for the last year that I see that payment. Can never get the words right, but it's when the government gives everybody just a check. Again, this isn't communism. Alaska does this. Uh, Native American tribes do this if they have money from some source. It's called just taking care of your people. And we're going to be really wrestling with this because, of course, this is going to upset those power centers like the Republicans. But if you take away Americans' right to work, you're going to have to help them. So that's what I see. All in all, this is change. Change is messy. We already talked about democracy being messy. This is a continuation of that messy change where the power is switching. My advice, spirit guides' advice to you would be step into your power, step into that power. How can you use AI to create a service that perhaps is not being offered or is offered in a less than way? AI doesn't create anything on its own, period, end of story. It requires a human, and the human has to know how to sort of finesse the input to get the best input out. So there will be jobs where you can sit at home and finesse an AI response. And you want to believe that there's going to be people who have no education, who just get it. They just get it. This is how you get it. This is how you get the best answer out of AI. So humans are still going to be needed. It's just in a different way. So if you can open your mind to that, I think you could actually not only be successful, but you could be very successful. Okay, there's a lot of money to be made by everybody. Okay, so let's move on to John Roberts. Let's see who's asking this question. Deb Marsh is asking this question about John Roberts. New things have come out where John Roberts, it's known, I don't know if it was leaked, but it's known that he made it known that he wanted to take on the immunity case for 45 before it was a thing. I mean, it's pretty damning as far as the Supreme Court goes. The Supreme Court is supposed to be immune themselves to politics. They're supposed to be immune to the workings of our government. They're supposed to be the last resort, the last word. And in that way, they're showing me, the guides are showing me justice is often blindfolded. right? That the Supreme Court is supposed to be blindfolded. But this is Roberts showing his hand and saying, I'm not only am I not blindfolded, but that's my man right there, and I want to help him out. It's it's untenable, it's unethical, it's unprofessional, and it's un-American, is what the spirit guides are saying. So now we just talked about how justice is not going to show up in the package that we think it should. Whatever you think how it should be, it's probably not going to show up like that. And I feel like what spirit is trying to say to us, and this is humans in general, is allow karma, allow a bigger energy to take care of this. If we get involved as humans and we take on anger and we take on this, just this irritation, and then we start getting depressed, and then we just give up on our democracy because nothing ever happens. Nobody ever gets held accountable, and there's two tiers of justice. That's all true to a point. But if we just give up, we really are part of the problem. We're not helping anything. So the thing here is to continue to do the work, continue to VOTE, continue to campaign and to stand up for your local people that are running and your state people and your federal and national people that are running, but also just to give it up to spirit and say, I don't know how this person's going to get their due, but they're going to get their due. Okay. Because when we get involved in the karma process, then we kind of align ourselves with that karmic process. Here's a way they describe it to me, and I've described it to you like this a lot, honestly, in the last couple of years. I've told you guys as a way of like describing how I see this happening. If you think of karma as a bus, which we often do, right? And the karma bus is speeding, just there's no brakes. The thing is speeding. It should be speeding past you because you got nothing to do with this karma. You didn't insert yourself into this situation. Okay. If you didn't insert yourself into the situation, the karma bus is going to fly right past you and knock out its intended subject. If you step into that flow and you say, karma, you're going to miss your target, you need to go over there, you're going to get it. You're going to get part of that blowback. Okay. I've used this analogy even in with people. If there's something going on at your work or something going on with your kids, if you step in, to that energy, well, you're in the energy, and you could very well suffer a karmic blowback when you didn't need to, when it wasn't yours to suffer. So in this case, let's just know John Roberts has got his karma coming for him. I see him being, I don't know who this guide is, but they don't understand English and I don't understand them. They just said, I swear to God, they said the word despoiled. That I'm pretty sure is not a word. He's going to be ruined. Okay, ruination. They came up with the word ruination. Now, is that going to happen next month? No. Is it going to happen even in 6 months? Maybe not. But there's too many. He's crossed too many karmic lines to get away with everything. Maybe he doesn't get hauled off to jail, but I feel like he could have financial issues. I mean, ruination is a pretty yucky word, right? So let's just know that this guy has stepped in the karma. You know what he's done? They just showed me the karma bus is coming down and it's coming for 45, right? I mean, it's really got a target. The target is simple. The target is clear. The way is clear. The road is clear. And what happened just now, or not just now, but when we found out about it was recently, is Justice Roberts stepped into the road and said, wait just a minute, Karma Bus. You need to stop. Well, you think that bus is going to stop? Its brakes are off, broken. Matter of fact, the Karma bus doesn't come installed with brakes. It doesn't have brakes. So in this way, Roberts just stepped in front of 45 and he's going to take the blowback. So is Alito. They just showed me. So is Kavanaugh. And so is that guy that I can never remember his name, which I think is interesting because I think that he shields himself. Gorsuch. Gorsuch is shielding himself. He's shielding himself from psychics. I'm gonna have to really look into him because when you're trying to hide, you got something to hide. Okay, let's move on. He is a danger to democracy. I agree, Devin. Thanks for your question. Let's see. The next question is good karma. Well, you can't make that up, right? The next question is from Good Karma, and the question is: Matt Gaetz is back in the news. Will he be charged by the end of the year? Will he ever spend time in prison? So when I heard that he was back in the news, why am I having the chills? I don't know. When I heard he was back in the news, I also saw there's more specific and damning evidence, meaning I feel like there's new evidence and I feel like it's worse evidence than there was. So the guy that the DOJ was going to use as their witness was this, I think his name is Greenberg. He was a running buddy of Gates's and he's in prison right now, honestly. And he flipped on Gaetz, but he turned out, even though he should have been a great witness, it should have been a slam dunk because he was right there with Gaetz. He's even on the same text string. I mean, he is just like Gaetz and this guy are so connected. But the problem is Greenberg started lying even after he made the deal with the feds. He lied. That makes him not a very good witness. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why the whole thing fell apart for Gaetz. And remember what's his name? Michael Cohen kind of did the same thing, right? Like they had to repatch him together to make him a good witness because he sort of remember when he came out and said lies, right? So this is complicated. If you've got a person who is lying, they're not going to be a good witness. However, despite that, and I understand that the DOJ might have decided they're going to take a pass on this. Energetically, I predicted that Gaetz would not be charged. The guides told you he wouldn't be charged. He wasn't charged. Told you guys that when that happened. But I also told you it's coming. It's coming for him, and it has to do allegedly and for entertainment purposes only underage kids. I mean, whatever you want to call that, right? 15, 16, I don't know. And kids, multiple. And I'm going to say that I tried to say girls or women and they said kids. You might infer from that that there might be both sexes involved here. Okay? So this has not come out yet. This is not information that I think is really proven or provable. This is me psychically and my spirit guides telling me this. So the thing that I would caution you about as well is once 45 is out, is contained, they want to say, I was going to say out of the picture, but apparently out of the picture does not describe the translation. It's more like contained. Now, could he be contained in a rubber room? Yes. Could he be contained in a very secure, under the jail, Guantanamo type place? Yes. Could he be contained in an urn? Yes. Okay. So once he's contained, it's like the guy behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. Once you really expose or get rid of that person, the entire false narrative that is all built on this guy just disappears. Now, what that means, even more than whatever you think it means, depending on how you interpreted what they said, it also means that the false narrative of these courts defending people like John Roberts, defending the status quo of this cult is going to fall apart. And then people like Matt Gaetz and the guides have always said this, it's just a matter of timing, and timing on the other side and timing here do not match up in any way, shape, or form. And number two, people have free will, which is always the spirit guides always line up everything and the human goes like over there. It's like you can only imagine what that's like. But one thing's for sure, there's a causality. They're saying there's a direct cause and effect to 45 being contained and everybody laying down their cards, everybody putting up their hands, people turning state's witness, more witnesses coming out. Like another thing is with this Gaetz thing, and also with 45, we know this, and also with Epstein and all these people, the witnesses come out and then they disappear because they're threatened, they're intimidated. So once the big bad monster is gone, people are going to feel more confident about coming out and feeling safe. And that's when it's really going to get messy, because these people that are in places of power, be it in Congress or in the Supreme Court or in the federal courts or even in the state political, leadership positions, or even your local town. I mean, this is a domino effect. The first domino is 45. And once he goes, he tips dominoes that go throughout our entire country and other countries. And the end result is a domino could fall in your small town. Not because that person is directly connected to 45, but that person is abusing their power. That's what's causing the dominoes to fall. Karma is coming, and karma is coming for anyone who's in the lane, the road that karma bus is traveling, is abuse of power. And you're going to see this in other countries and other, maybe the royal family, other, not to pick on them, but other, that's just what they showed me, but other political leaders in other countries. It's going to be like maybe even 5 years of people getting in trouble and or indicted and or jailed or whatever for abuse of power. There's this reckoning. The guides have mentioned this many times. This time of reckoning as we go into the power is to the people. The people want a reckoning, and they have a long memory. They have a long memory. The memory is not. This is interesting to me. The memory is not in your brain, because this is why we're here. We don't have a memory in our brain. Our brain says every day I've got to get up and make money to pay my bills. The brain says I can't deal with this. I'm not going to watch the news. None of that is wrong. That's called survival. The memory is in your body. Your body remembers the abuse of power, and your body will remind the brain. I just think that's fascinating. These hurts, these grievances have been stored in our body. That's really important thing, that we need to get it out of our body because it's toxic. So you could go to YouTube and you could look up a Reiki healing on YouTube. If you don't have any resources, you can always do this through the magical YouTube land and release toxic energy. That's what you want to do. If you do have the resources, you might want to start visiting your favorite Reiki practitioner, or pick three and kind of rotate between the three, because we've stored this toxicity in our body and it's going to come out. They want to say as a memory, but I want to say as rage. And I feel it in my throat. I feel us speaking our rage, shouting our rage. Do not underestimate this. Do not underestimate this. This is a lot of energy that humans have stored, that once 45 is starting to be contained, it's a pylon. The guides keep calling it a pylon. So let's move on. Karen Conroy, and thank you so much for doing the timestamps for me and being moderator extraordinaire for so many channels. She says, will Ohio MAGA, this is horrible. If you haven't heard about this, this is chilling, and this is how we got here. This is abuse of power. Will Ohio MAGA Sheriff Zuchowski be asked to resign for voter intimidation because he said to a video camera, not shy, that guy, that maybe people will go around and record the addresses of people that have Harris Wall signs. And when 45 is in power, those people will be investigated. Or I don't even know what. I mean, this is voter intimidation, and this is abuse of power. And so, will he be asked to resign? Ohio MAGA Sheriff. Well, see, this is again, I hate to keep saying this, but this is what the guides are telling me, and I'm channeling. This is how we got here. People are saying, oh, he was just kidding. He didn't mean it. I mean, come on, y'all can't take a joke, or, he was clearly, they make excuses. The way they made excuses for Robinson, who was isn't he the lieutenant governor? This man was voted in as lieutenant governor of North Carolina. And he says on video, some people just need killing. Okay, we have allowed these people to abuse their power. And I don't want to say that in a judgmental way because it's chilling. And I live in a red state where I can't put a sign up or a sticker on my car for fear of retribution, not unlike this. So I get it. When I'm saying this, the Susan part of this chimes in to say, as a human living on earth, this is for real. This has a very chilling effect on you. People will be afraid to VOTE, right? So will he be asked to resign? I think so, but I gotta say, right now, the energy is he's fighting back. Somebody's fighting back for him. Okay. But if this man somehow makes it through to February or March in that position, the new DOJ that Kamala Harris is going to create, if for lack of a better word, will be investigating abuse of power. And she's going to ask Congress to give this teeth for a law that says you can't speak about, you can't incite violence. She's going to ask Congress. This is going to be one of the first things that she does. And so if this guy manages to stay in office, I don't think he will, but if he manages to stay in office, they're coming for him. Okay. Now, when I looked away, I just saw a whole movie in my mind. And that is, this guy steps down and look, he's a reprobate. That's what the guys want to, if the guys want to really get spicy and call you something bad, they call you a reprobate or a cretin. That's like them calling you, if I was calling you something, it'd be an MFer. That's their version, I guess. But anyway, saw this guy, this sheriff, basically allegedly joining or performing duties with some sort of militia like the Proud Boys. Maybe this guy does this on the down low. Maybe he gives allegedly people like this or groups like this a pass, but he will literally take his badge off, put it on the table, walk across the street and join a very nasty group. So getting him to resign doesn't solve the problem, does it? Right? I mean, it does because the badge gives him power, but he intends to use his power in some way, I guess is what I would say. Okay. So we're going to have to deal with him regardless, but he does have extra power with a badge, and that's important. And believe me, Kamala Harris, this is a big deal. She was a prosecutor. She knows what dirty cops look like. She knows what dirty prosecutors look like. She knows what people that abuse power look like. She's seen it from all angles. She's the perfect person to go in there and remake the DOJ, starting with Garland all the way down. She's going to bring in younger prosecutors, more aggressive prosecutors. She's going to demand a lot. I mean, you might hear, just like I think you've heard, that she demands a lot of her staff. She really does. But you either, any job you take, you've got to be able to do the job that your boss wants you to do. So she's coming for them. Believe me, she's coming for them. Okay, let's move on. Wendy Klein says, will that creepy, evil, true, Stephen Miller be held accountable for his role in tearing families apart? I think you're talking about on the border and other criminal behavior he is engaged in. Yeah, I see Stephen Miller. Why does my head hurt? Um, I don't know. Maybe something happens to him in his health because my head is killing me right here on either side of my head. Um, I don't know. He might have a health issue with his head, you guys. Again, that's karma. Water will find a way. It doesn't have to stay in the riverbank. I mean, karma is on that road, but if it needs to swerve and take out Stephen Miller, I'm pretty sure it can. So, and Stephen Miller's dumb enough to stand in front of karma going, slow down, slow down. You know what I mean? Beep beep, meow. It's not going to be pretty. So yes, he's going to be held accountable. I do feel like he's going to. They just said federal prison, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. But I also see something going on right here. What is that? Right in my your temples are here, like very specifically, right above my ears. Could be foul play. I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. And when I say foul play, what I'm saying is. mm, I think I can say this. I'll spell it, and I don't even know if I'm spelling it right, but HAVANA syndrome. Okay? So vibrational attack. God, I got to get them to stop doing that. Okay. Um, so let's move on to the second part of your question is what happens to Steve? Now it's making me sick to my stomach. What happens to Steve Bannon? Let me just take a second. Okay. Okay, I'm good. What happens to Steve Bannon? I mean, his energy is so different than Miller. What happens to Bannon? They just said he's gone. They're just saying he's gone. I don't know if that means contained, like locked up, gone, or in an urn somewhere, gone, or at a golf course, under some weeds, gone. I don't think they would allow. I don't think they're going to share the golf course with Bannon. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Is there a woman? Does he have a daughter? There's a woman who's she looks younger than she is. She could be 30 or 40, but she looks younger than she is. Or there's a 40-year-old and a 20-year-old. There's women that could be the downfall of him. Again, we're going into this time because we're not quite emboldened yet. We still don't feel safe to go out and the majority of us don't feel safe enough to really come out and say, I've got dirt on this person or whatever. So how this is going to come out is in leaks and in anonymous tips. Okay, so the spirit guides have been saying we're going into not fall season, we're going into anonymous tip season where people don't feel safe, but they're going to come out with the tip anyway. So there could be two women that have something to do with Bannon, and I mean their inner circle Bannon people, like family, or like family as in kids, or family as in sisters, or family as in cousins, or they're somehow connected. If they're not family, then they're people that he trusts, and they feel like family. So the energy is family. Doesn't mean blood family. It means energy family. They're gonna betray him. They're gonna betray him. That's always fun. I'm happy you asked that question. Thank you, Wendy. Let's see. Marie says, "Is Trump connected to P Diddy? Will something come out in the media?" Right. I talked about P. Diddy in my video yesterday. His energy is so big and so heavy. Um, yeah, 45 is absolutely connected to what they're telling me right now is P. Diddy and Trump are connected the way Epstein and Trump is connected. So they did the same things, if you can infer what I'm saying, and they did the same things but separately. P. Diddy had his little kingdom, Epstein had his little kingdom, right? Um, and so, yes, something is going to come out in the media. Oh, right. Except for this, the problem is that I don't think P. Diddy is going to last. I don't think he's going to be breathing oxygen too much longer because he really has incredibly bad things about people. In a way, it's worse than Epstein's because Epstein kept track of everybody like he was an accountant. Like he had a ledger. I mean, I don't know. This is what they're showing me. He had a ledger and he put their proclivities, is what they're saying. Like, and it was on paper. Um, it was very organized. Okay. Diddy is bombastic. His energy is everywhere and nowhere. Like he has a video, he has an audio, he has something on that phone over there, he has something on this iPad or iPod from 1989. It's everywhere. They're in drawers, they're in the attic, they're in the wall, they're just everywhere. And it's not that he means to disseminate it, is he's disorganized. And um now there are some things he has in a safe that are, the way you would, like, if you had really expensive jewelry that was really important, you'd put it in a safe. Well, he has really damning videos that are in a safe that to him was his get out of jail free card. That was like, well, if you're going to take me down, I'm going to take you down. The problem is, and this is a whole another video. The problem is, I think that the FBI has a lot of that evidence. Uh, Not everything, because like I said, you could go to his house and behind the toilet there could be a USB drive that just fell out of somebody's pocket. I mean, that's what I'm saying, and all of that is damning. And as I did that, as they took me through that visual, I'm seeing like a house cleaning person finding it and putting it in their pocket for later. So again, you see these tips, these whistleblowers. Um, this stuff is going to be everywhere. I don't think it's containable, but I do think they're going to try to contain P. Diddy the way they did Epstein. So yes, I think it's going to come out, but it's not going to come out through him. I think it's going to come out through whatever leaks, whatever little goodies people have been able to squirrel away. And they're going to have their 15 minutes of fame, or they're going to have their 15,000 or $15 million, whatever it is that they get to expose it, right? Whew, it's all coming out. It's all being revealed. This is the revealing or the unveiling of the power structure, the corrupt power structure. This is why all of a sudden P. Diddy's been arrested. The karma is coming. You can't outrun it. Yeah, Trump got away with this, Trump got away with that, but he also got his butt beat in a debate. His he has no money. Um, he's embarrassed. He's being more embarrassed every day. That's karma. And the guy said this many years ago that instead of like being in a boxing ring and karma taking 45 out with one KO. I even did a video with that. Might have that in the title. We could have just knocked him out and put him out of our misery, put him out of our misery. That's hilarious. That's true. Um, but instead, the guide said, no, it's going to be body blows. We're going to take him down slowly. Just, yeah. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, to be honest with you. But this is what it is. This is what you're seeing. Don't underestimate it. It's having an effect. It is karma. Karma doesn't always KO, knock out. Karma doesn't always knock out. It sometimes plays with you and makes you really regret every little decision you ever made over a period of time before they knock you out. That's a much worse, in my opinion, um, lesson, right? Comeuppance, than getting just having mercy on that person and taking them out, right? So, okay. And don't underestimate the fact that while he's getting his lessons, we're getting our lessons. We're understanding, oh, there's a two-tier justice system. Oh, our Supreme Court is corrupt. Oh, we've got these people running for office that want to take away women's rights. If we weren't, if 45 still wasn't in the game, we wouldn't have Kamala Harris. So this is an ongoing lesson for all of us, right? It there are benefits here. There are benefits here. We're understanding how bad it is. We're understanding we really do want women to have the right to choose. We're understanding we really don't want to have a two-tier justice system. We're understanding that we really don't want to give the president immunity. We're understanding we don't want to give the Supreme Court the right, the power to abuse Americans and their laws, or states to disregard their citizens' wishes. We're learning about this. This is important time. It's not like it's all going to hell in a handbasket. It's actually being revealed to us so that we can have the reckoning, so that we can have this stored memory in our body of rage released at the polls. Let's move on. Ruthie, great question. Ruthie says, once Kamala becomes president, what does the energy look like around her getting everything done? Gun control, economy. I know it depends on voting blue down the ballot, but what does it feel like currently? That's a great question, Ruthie, because God, they're giving me chills again. What is going on? I don't know what's going on. Because when I said it's a great question, what they showed me was sometimes when you're planning to do something big, it's already done. Like sometimes I see things that are already done. Like she's already president. I probably shouldn't talk like that because God knows humans are crazy. I don't know why I signed up for this gig, but I did. But I feel like it's already done. And I feel like she feels like it's already done. And I'm not telling you she's taking anything for granted because she's not. She's not that kind of person. But she's also a visionary person. She's a big picture person. So, she's been thinking about what she would do as president of the United States back in 2016, back in 2020. She's been considering this. If I had my chance, this is what I would do. So she's already got, believe me when I say, probably 5 or 6 really stout plans. Now, what you say is true. It really depends on Congress, and the guides have said this. If she has a mandate through Congress, meaning she has a big majority, then she has to go to Congress and she has to say, let's get this done. And I've told you guys, I see some reticence still in Congress with some of these, especially they're pointing towards senators who've been there for 3 decades, who just can't quite get it around their head that this is a new day, that we are really at the precipice. And we have one opportunity here. We've been given a reprieve by having Kamala Harris. We've been given a reprieve of losing our democracy. We have to act. We must act. We cannot say, well, I don't think that the electrical, or I really don't think that this, or I really think this is too much. We can't do, we have to really lead boldly, like a Jasmine Crockett, boldly. But I will tell you that Kamala will be a president who will go across the aisle. She will also be a president that communicates very clearly and strongly what her game plan is to Congress, and she will not be shy in communicating that. She will not be shy in picking up the phone to Speaker Jeffries and saying, how come this vote didn't go through? Because you can hear her saying that, right? This is the sleep when you're dead lady. This is, how come that vote didn't go through? What do you think happened? Like a boss. and I know there's separation. She's going to be more active. Walls is going to be more active. Believe me, Walls is going to be VP. He's going to be the tie-breaking vote. He's going to be in Congress. Believe me when I say this is a completely different presidency than we've had in 4 decades. That's 40 years. Yeah, 4 decades. So I don't know. Do the math and figure out who was the president back then. But this is what they're saying. I think she's going to get it done because she's going to shame them. This is a take no prisoners woman. She believes that she's going to be a president that thinks she has one term to do it. One term. She's going to feel like the clock is ticking, like she's on a contest and she's got to get all this done in 4 years or else she loses. And I don't mean loses the presidency. I mean loses her soul. She's not doing this to be president. She's doing this to help the American people, to change our country for the better. So this is the power, this is the energy she's bringing forth. And I've said this before, and they're showing it to me again. She will be very, I don't know how involved the president can get or should get or does get. I don't know what the rules are. And God knows they're probably not even rules anyway. They're probably norms or traditions like we found out through 45. But I see her being more involved in these new congressional people, like new to Congress people that are and younger people that maybe just got to Congress in this last couple of years. I see her mentoring or assigning in the way, not directly, because again, we have separation of powers. I know y'all are yelling at me, we have separation of powers. I'm just trying to translate what I'm getting. Okay. It's a translation. I'm not saying Kamala Harris is going to call up some congressperson and say, you got to do what I need you to do. That's a 45 move. She's going to make it easier to vote the way she wants them to vote. She's going to help them. She's going to support them. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. Whew, it's hard to translate this because sometimes it comes out as whole sentences and sometimes it comes out as a scenario because people have free will. She has free will. Congress has free will. Everybody has free will. We don't really know how safe these Congress people are going to feel. They might be getting death threats. They might be getting all kind of threats, and they might all of a sudden take a cooler response to voting a certain way. And we may not be privy to what's happening because it's all on the down low. Do you understand how I cannot tell you somebody's going to do something because if somebody else says, you're not going to do it because I'm going to send you a letter. I'm going to send you an email. I'm going to let you know that I'm watching you and you're under my, eye. Well, that's a chilling effect. That person is now going to act differently than their soul, than their personality, than their energy wants to act. So you understand? Let's just do one more question. Quick question. Moods of Florence, how are you, dear? Will Lindsey Graham get in trouble for election interference in Nebraska this time? So I don't know exactly what he did, but I know that he was supposed to be voting, and instead of actually doing his job that the people pay him for, he goes over to Nebraska and does something to allegedly interfere with their election. No, I wish I could tell you yes, but I don't get it. We don't have, the guides are saying we don't have the apparatus, meaning laws. Our laws don't have teeth, like the Logan Act. It's an act. It has no teeth. We thought these were like big things that held power in check. There's no teeth. This is what Kamala Harris is going to do when she gets in office. She's going to start putting teeth in this stuff. She's going to start directing the DOJ to investigate more people and further, not just say, okay, we can't do it. We're not going to do it. She's like, no, you're going to do it. Even if you lose, you're going to do it, because in the course of discovery, meaning this is what we discovered evidence-wise, the IRS might get involved. So in this way, it's like we're gonna stir up all the dirt around this person. We're going to use the DOJ to stir up all this dirt around the person. Right now, the DOJ is used as a marksman. They have to fire and hit 100%. are 98%. So they don't do anything. By the time somebody is 98% guilty, the whole freaking world knows they're guilty, right? So it's really neutered the DOJ. So the reason I'm talking about the DOJ with Lindsey Graham is that other things are coming for him. Other things are coming for him. I do see a health event. I'm pointing to my sternum area, but also he's ruined as well. His reputation is ruined. He has nothing. When I go into his energy, he has nothing. He has no respect, no standing. In his mind, he has no money. He does have money. To me and you, he's got money, but to him, he doesn't have money. For him to have, say, 2 or 300,000 is like being poor, right? So in his mind, he's poor. He's ruined. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it. I don't see him getting in trouble. Could he be called out on it? Could he be shamed about it? Could he be questioned about it? I don't even see him being censored. I don't even see him being censored by Congress. I wish I could say the otherwise, but this is what I see. But again, karma's coming for these people. And they just keep standing in the middle of the road doing bad things, abusing their power. They're going to get karma flattened. Just allow karma to do its work. Know that it's doing its work. Take really good care of yourself because, as we say, all this rage, all this depression, sadness, when you thwart an energy, when you repress an energy, it's toxic. When you repress an energy, a lot of times you repress anger, it becomes depression. So we've been depressing this because it's what's been the safest thing to do. We really didn't feel like we could go out and protest or yell or scream or get it off our chest because the other side was way more vitriolic and rageaholic. So we really need to start releasing this. And one way to release this is to release the idea that karma is coming for these people. Karma will come for these people. Karma came, for Bill Cosby. Karma came in some ways, karma comes for these people and they get thrown in jail. It's just we forget about it. We don't really celebrate it. Or we say, well, it should have happened 20 years ago. Why did it happen now? Because time has no meaning to them. We need to do our work and let spirit do their work. Okay, this is part 1. I will do part 2. Probably Monday it'll be coming out. I hope to get this out today on Saturday. So look for part 2 on Monday. If you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you'll be notified when I have a video. If you like this content, please leave me a comment. Let me know. If you don't like it, leave me a comment. Let me know. Just be respectful to myself and to other commenters. I do offer events and classes. I have an event coming up in Denver, Colorado. It's Connect to Empower. It's my second event. Last year, we sold out in a few days. 111 people came. It was in Chicago. It was amazing. And this year, it's in Denver. We have 150 people coming. Again, it sold out in a day and a half. I do have 1 or 2 tickets open because 2 people canceled. If you're interested, you can find more information about this event at my website, SusanLynnMedium.com. We have 5 psychics that are going to be there, raising the roof. We're going to raise your spiritual roof. And it's super amazing. I love doing it. Everybody came away last year a changed person, really transformed, including myself. I can't wait to see what happens this year. But you know what? I'm going to be doing more events next year in 2025. Look for me in a town near you. I probably will be hitting the West Coast, the East Coast, who knows where. So if you can't make it this year, I hope to see you next year. I do offer classes. I do have an amazing, this is fun. My online community, I don't even know, it operates, it's a city. Let's just call it that. It's a city of its own. It operates on its own that I visit from time to time. There's over 400 people there. They're chatting with each other, supporting each other, sharing things. Some of it's political, some of it's spiritual. I'm there I'm out there about 4 hours a month. I do 4 hours of interaction with my members a month. It's only $12 a month. If you're interested, again, you can find more information about that on SusanLynnMedium.com. You can subscribe, you can join, and you can cancel anytime. There's no contract or anything like that. You can just pay monthly and check it out and be like, it was for me, or yes, it was for me. But it's pretty amazing. It's a community, and we need community. So whether you find your community, wherever that is, find your community, find your people. We've been isolated. We've been stepped on. We've been aggrieved. It's time to let it go. It's time to let all that go. Like Kamala Harris says, it's time to turn the page. We're all turning the page to a brighter time, to a more spiritual time, but to a more equal time. But right now, we have to clean house, and that's happening. But take good care of yourself while all this reckoning and revealing and all of this messy stuff is happening. Release, release, release. Okay? I'll see you again real soon. Take good care, everybody. For entertainment purposes only.